Whenever I originally made my Tinder page, I only wanted it so it means I could get compliments. That's not the point of Tinder. Tinder's basically a dating app. Today we're going to be looking at some Tinder dating nightmares. So basically these people went on a Tinder date and it didn't go how they planned.
Tell me your worst Tinder dates.
Gonna have to do the short version of the story, but to preface this, I did meet him in person once and he seemed normal. So this guy I met on Tinder invited me over to his apartment to make me dinner. Went on and on about how I was gonna make this gourmet meal. I get there and there's nothing cooking. And I'm like, where's the food? And he's like, oh, we're gonna cook together. And I'm like, all right, cute. I'm like, what are we cooking? And he's like, oh, we're gonna make tilapia. And I'm like, okay, what else? And he's like, nothing.
What is tilapia? It sounds very American. Tilapia, I don't think I've ever had that. I don't think I want it. It doesn't sound that good.
So then we cook unseasoned tilapia in a pan with just butter. I then start chugging the barefoot white wine he bought me because I just didn't know how I would get through this evening. We then eat the unseasoned tilapia on his futon in his frat-like apartment. Shortly after the gourmet tilapia, this man starts to make out with me and I don't know how to say no because I'm an insecure 22-year-old. He then goes, uh-oh. And I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's uh-oh? He came his pants.
Okay, well that's not what I expected. Oh god, so apparently he was left with a bit of a sticky mess. Thank god we got a part 2. We need to hear more of this juicy tea.
Okay, part 2 of the Tinder date disaster tilapia story. And yes, I know I pronounced preface wrong. It's not preface. But we all have our faults, and at least mine isn't.
Honestly, I don't care. Just get to the story.
And also, everybody's saying, oh, he was just trying. At least he made you dinner. No, okay. Oh, my dog. Sorry, my Doberman loves me a lot. So after the pants incident, no, I didn't leave right away. And no, I can't tell you what was wrong with me. Again, I was in my early 20s. I am now 30. So I don't know. I was going through a time, okay? So I'm sitting on the futon with tilapia man, and all of a sudden something runs across the floor. And at this point, I don't feel like anything's fazing me. I'm like, what was that? And he goes, my mom was supposed to take care of the mice problem. Homeboy lived in an apartment by himself. I don't know where his mom came into this.
Oh my god, part 3? How long is this going to go on for? Okay, I think she only has one more part, so we're going to watch that. But basically, obviously, you know, something happened in the first part. Not going to talk about it because it's minging. Second part, he's literally got a mice-infested apartment. I mean, I don't know where this is. I think in New York, it's quite common to have, like, mice in your apartment. But, I mean, come on. She literally sat there like mice were scuttling around.
Okay, so this is actually part 3. So we're sitting on his futon, something runs across the floor. I'm like, what the f is that? And he's like, it was a mouse. It was a mouse. Then he calls his mom. And he's like, Mom, I thought you were going to call the apartment complex about the mice. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, I need to go home, but I'm kind of tipsy. Then he proceeds to tell his mom that the mice problem is ruining his date. Oh boy, the date was ruined when you made me plain tilapia with butter in a pan and then in your pants, okay? Needless to say that I hate dating apps and I'm so glad I'm not on them anymore. Don't go to a house if you don't know the guy really well. And if he offers you tilapia with no seasoning, go home, bestie. You're so much better than that.
I mean, yeah, don't even go to people's houses you don't know because it could be a serial killer. Okay, so someone said this in the comments. Wait, so all these women went on a hookup app and it's surprised to find guys that just want to hook up while getting the bare minimum effort. How shocking. I mean, first of all, Tinder isn't a hookup app. Tinder's a dating app. Grindr's one for hookups. But I mean, to be honest, I'm only on Tinder for, you know, compliments. You know, who doesn't love a good old compliment?
Okay, so I was like an insecure 20-year-old in college, and this guy took me out on a date, like super religious, like saving himself till marriage, like the whole thing. Like, even got mad when I said bitch. Anyway, we went on a date and he seemed fine and cool, and then we went to Dairy Queen. Because of my small rural college town in Carrollton, that's the only place where we can get ice cream after. So then that's where he proceeds to tell me that he has a knife, or like a sword, hanging above his bed. Because when he was 16 years old, he was knighted in front of his friends as like his version of his 16th birthday. So he has that sword hanging above his bed at his house. Then he invites me over to his place, where then he proceeds to like heavily pet me. And then after the heavy petting, he starts humping my leg like a dog, like a chihuahua, aggressively humping me. And then he finished in his pants. And I was like, it's time for me to leave. Dating's fun.
I mean, technically he is still gonna wait till marriage because that doesn't actually count. But trust me, dogs humping you, it's so scary to get humped by dogs all the time. But that's weird. So why did he like randomly have like a sword above his like bed? Is that not like dangerous in case like falls and like takes his head off? But then like he's sort of humping you and petting you. I mean, you're not a dog, sweetheart.
Y'all better buckle your seatbelts because this is a good one. Me and this girl matched on Tinder. Conversation was going really good, right? We're talking for a few weeks and finally she goes, hey, we should meet up. I was like, hell yeah, all right, bet. So we set a time and a place. And the day comes for us to meet up and I don't hear a single word from her. Confirmation, no I'm gonna be late, nothing. She completely ghosted me out of nowhere.
Nah, I'm so sorry. People who ghost people, especially in that sort of context, that is awful. Imagine literally setting up a date and then you ghost them. Now that's scumbag behavior.
Fast forward a few months later, I get a bunch of notifications from the same person on Facebook. The chick is heart reacting to every single picture that I post. I send her a message and we start talking. Go to ask for her number, I put it on my phone. Turns out, it's Tinder chick. At this time in my life, I was sowing my wild oats, as it were. The fact that I didn't realize that it was her isn't really surprising.
I mean, honestly, whenever stuff like that happens, you always ignore the red flags. You just like don't realize it. Has it ever happened to you where like situations happen, then in time you look back and you're like, oh my god, I missed so many red flags and stupid things. It's like I feel like we're half asleep most of the time.
Anyway, we start talking again and eventually set a time and a place to hang out again. This time she didn't ghost me. Let me set the scene for you. She's like, we're gonna go to the ice caves. I was like, all right, cool, we're going to the ice caves. Swing through the Burger King drive-thru. She pays for my food, obviously. Gets to the ice caves. I'm very out of breath because I'm out of shape. She's climbing all over the place. And I make a joke about dead parents. Only to find out that her dad is dead. We end up dating for a few months, then we break up. We got back together and got married and had a kid.
And you're still apparently together. I mean, that was definitely unique. I mean, thank God you're like still together and you got like a child and hopefully you're happily married. But basically, you know, yous were like, you know, talking and she ghosted you. And then a few months later, you got back in contact and didn't realize it was her. And then you actually went to an ice cave. First of all, what is an ice cave? Is that like a cave covered in ice? And then you made jokes about dead parents. It turned out her dad was dead. And then you dated, broke up, and now you're back together with a wee baby. I mean, that seems like most relationships in 2023.
This was gonna be mine and this guy's third date, and it was gonna be the first time we ever had to stay the night together. Well, he asked me to go to a hotel in Arlington so we could go watch the Rangers play. Halfway through the game, we go get nachos and beer, and he pulls me to the side, and he's like holding my hands in the front, and he's like, baby, I just want you to know I love you. And I'm like, huh?
This is the third date, and keep in mind you're going to a hotel room, so that usually means one thing only. I mean, he's only really got one intention.
And after that, I was like, okay, I'm a little weirded out, but I already agreed to stay the night, and I'm like 2 hours from home. So we go to the stockyards after the games to go to some bars and drink a little bit. Well, he gets freaking plastered and I didn't. My phone died. I asked to use his phone so I can call the Uber. He wouldn't even give me his phone, wouldn't give me his password. It was really weird. And then I used some stranger's phone just to call us an Uber. As soon as we get in the Uber, he's like throwing up outside the door on the lady's car down the highway, so vomit going like 65 miles an hour.
Okay, well this seems like an absolute nightmare date. Like, I'm telling you right now, someone acting like this, I'd probably leave them. I've never been in a date. I'm just not into it. Like, I'm not looking forward like to it. Me personally, I like being on my own. I don't need someone. Like, I love the single life.
Okay, part two. So he proceeds to throw up everywhere once we get to the hotel, like all over this lady's vehicle, concrete, outside, like whatever. So I told the lady, I was like, I'll help you clean it up. Let me go change out of these heels real quick. Let me go get my regular shoes and I'll come help you clean it up real quick. So he goes to the room. I go upstairs. Of course, the door's locked. I don't have my card key. Go down to the lobby, get a new key made for the room. Go open the door. Freaking grabbed as much money as I could find out of his wallet to give to the lady because I was like, this shit. I don't know the dude, so I think I gave her like $300 or $400, whatever was in his wallet, and then went back downstairs. Well, obviously I changed my shoes. Went downstairs, helped her clean his throw up. Went back upstairs and realized I left the key card in the room because I was so stressed out. So I had to go back down to the lobby, get a card, go back upstairs, get in the room with the key card, and then as soon as I get in the bed, he's butt ass naked with his little thing-a-ling just dingling around.
Honestly, at that point, you should just run away, go with the lady. Oh my god, why would you act like that on a third date? I mean, thank god it's not the first date, it's the third date. Lord almighty, this would probably be last date with him if I were you.
I love telling this story. So a few years ago, a guy from Tinder asked me out and we met up at this bar, and now I always like to wear high heels wherever I go because I'm barely 5'4", so I just like wearing heels. And I show up in heels. I didn't ask his height because I don't really care how tall he is, but I showed up in heels and I'm like towering over this guy and I'm pretty short. And I could tell his feelings were like a little hurt because he's kind of like looking up at me like,
Yeah, sometimes guys who are very, very short get very, very insecure and angry about their height. I mean, I do kind of feel bad for them. You know, if someone's insecure about something, they're insecure. But with guys, it's always the hairlines or their height. It's not really like if they're muscular or skinny. It's usually how tall they are or what their hairline looks like. That's mainly like the one thing that upsets guys.
So my motherfucking ass takes off my shoes and I'm like, who need shoes anyway, you know? So we sit down at the bar and he orders me a drink. And not even 10 minutes into our conversation, he starts talking to the girl sitting on the other side of him. And he orders her a drink. And I'm sitting over there like, hello. He must have forgot about me. And yeah, never went out with him again.
Well, yeah, I don't blame you. Why would you ever want to go out with him again? I mean, you know, the height doesn't really matter. If you really want to, I'm sure he could put your heels on. But you were meant to be on a date with him and then he ordered a girl beside him a drink. See that right there? That's why I don't go on dates. Well, anyways, guys, that's some Tinder nightmare. I'm only on Tinder for compliments. If you've ever had a Tinder nightmare, let me know. I'm very interested. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're subscribed and see you all tomorrow for another video.